Look, I don't know if you saw Cenk Uygur interviewed. I think it was Elizabeth Warren. I think it was the time before last, and he's falling over himself. And it was it's hard to sometimes that stuff gets subjective, but there are certain goalposts that points you in the right way of, all right, this is how I should frame this particular thought process. They asked Elizabeth Warren. He asked her, look, why didn't you support Sanders in the race? Now, that's a question that all of his audience, if you don't ask that question and you have Elizabeth Warren on that show, you should don't even put progressive in your name. Like, that's something that your audience wants to know. Elizabeth Warren puts her hand across her nose like Bill Clinton after the Monica Lewinsky thing. And she makes this point of, well, I thought it was a great spirited debate. Now, I have video footage of Elizabeth Warren on one day saying they rigged it and the other day saying they didn't. And Cenk Uygur didn't hit her on that. I didn't kind of make this point. Is it true that you didn't do that because you didn't want to lose political capital and you just kind of assumed Hillary Clinton would win? That's what it is. Like, that's what most people think it is. Or at least that's what I think it is. That's what I think a lot of lefties think it is. He let her go. He let her go. And now you have
worse than that. I mean, WikiLeaks showed her staff was trying to get meetings with Hillary Clinton in 2015. Yeah. They were already talking to the Clinton campaign in 2015. So this wasn't like in the moment Elizabeth Warren decided, I'm just going to sit this one out. She was actively angling, which whatever, she's a politician. To basically, she must have presumed that Hillary Clinton was going to win. And so she was actively working to get, I guess, in her administration or vice president or whatever her thing was, which, I saw that interview. Listen, I'm not going to bash my old stomping grounds, but I thought it was weak. I mean, I would have grilled her until she answered, because when she says, I don't want to, 2016 is in the past. No, 2016 is a measuring stick for your candidacy now. Yeah. And we need to know, why did you sit out the biggest progressive fight of the 21st century?
And there are a lot of lefties who are very pissed off at that. That's not something that people. Like, that burns into people. It's wow. Her strongest political position in that moment was literally to say, okay, I have to advocate a choice. Like, she might have wanted to do Sanders. Like, that might have been her heart. But she was like, oh, God, the worst. I can't support Clinton before the thing because people are going to vote for me later on for president. If, you're getting into this kind of just raw politics. Oh, God, that sucks.
And I would add, like, if I was in the debate this time, I mean, there's a lot more grilling that I would do for, like, Biden and Kamala Harris's people and, America's new mayor, Pete, who, whatever. But I would ask Warren's people, like, respectfully, but this whole I have a plan thing, a lot of her plans are kind of knockoffs of Bernie Sanders' plans for 20 years. I mean, Bernie Sanders has been talking about a wealth tax for 20 years, maybe 30 years. So I'm not saying, like, it's not good that she agrees, but a lot of her plans actually were legislation in the Senate by other senators that she signed on to. So I'm not criticizing her for being for these plans, but this whole branding, I have a plan. Well, it's not exactly true. Yeah. One of her plans I love that I'd like Bernie to be with is breaking up Amazon, Facebook, and these things. I think she's stronger than Bernie on that. One of her, I wouldn't call it a plan, but I would ask, hey, how are you going to, like, take on structural income inequality and the rigging of the system when you're voting for a $715 billion defense budget? I think that's problematic.
Well, it's that too. And just a very basic point that Sanders continuously makes that Elizabeth Warren, I don't think I have ever heard her make, nor do I even think she has the stuff to be able to pull it off, is that you need people. Like, how on earth are you going to get congressional members, other Democrats, Senate or House, to move on stuff that they don't want to move on, that don't want to touch, that, you know what I mean? It's like, they are, if it was that easy to get this stuff done as opposed to shifting a president, this stuff would have been done, like, by others. It's one of those things where I actually do think it's dollars or pitchforks. And in this case, you need, I'm sorry, you need pitchforks. I guess that's my point. Sanders' plan literally boils down to the public is going to pressure Congress to act. That's what he continuously says. The public is going to pressure Congress. You will get these things when. The problem is a president doesn't in and of himself have the power to pull that off. And whatever she wants to say on it, without that.
I have this argument with a lady in my life who likes Warren. And I'm okay with somebody liking Warren. I mean, I don't think Warren's as bad as Biden or Kamala Harris, that's for sure. But I say, you could have plans. And Bernie made this point at the end of the first debate. Plans are good. Plans are good. But all of these people with plans, I mean, Elizabeth Warren has already showed she's kind of pretty susceptible to like moving away from those plans. So we already had Barack Obama, who started his negotiation on the other side's like 1 yard line. Yeah. He basically gave, at the time, Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell whatever they wanted, and bipartisan compromise. So if Elizabeth Warren on the campaign trail is barely talking about Medicare for all, and one of her answers, I think in a TV interview, was like, we got to just stay to the center. The center is better healthcare. What the hell does that mean?
Wow.
So, no, I want to know whether, because you know what? Bernie Sanders, truthfully, as president, he might have to compromise on some things. We're talking practically if he doesn't have the votes. But I want to know that he's going to fight to the death at the start to get it done, which means you're not going to compromise the whole thing away. And I also think Bernie said it in 2016 during an interview with Chris Matthews. He said, no, the first thing I'm going to do is not like go compromise with Mitch McConnell. I'm going to say, Mitch, look outside the window. There's thousands of people on your door.
Yeah.
Because that's how you actually, Mitch McConnell and all these people, their main ideology is power, staying in power. So if Mitch McConnell has a threat that if you think Bernie Sanders has 1 million volunteers during a campaign knocking on doors for him, can you imagine if he was president?
And by the way, those people aren't going anywhere.
No.
Like in his mind, this is his little army that is going to compel senators. It's the Ralph Nader plan. Ralph Nader's biggest argument was, look, you could compel senators or representatives to come to your particular area, and having that to take place all across the country. Nader makes this argument that you don't need as massive amounts of people as I think people think you need in order to get changed in this way.
Absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, listen, the DNC and NBC News, frankly, but the DNC in particular, they are trying to shield their candidates from any bad press. And I don't mean this in a way like, status quo or Jordan. I mean this in a way like, as far as I know, Jeff Zeleny and Robert Costa and, these reporters from CNN, they're not going to challenge anyone. Yeah. So I think the DNC, Jimmy was there. He told me there was no space issue. That's the reason they gave me. I knew there was no space issue. So they didn't let me in because I'm not part of their club. B, they know that I'm not going in there for access. I'm going in there like kamikaze mission. I don't care if I get invited back. And frankly, if Joe Biden wants to openly tell Wall Street donors, like, I'm going to fluff your pillows if elected president, your standard of living will not change, then somebody's got to ask his campaign, what does he mean by that?
Yeah.
Is he against, is he going to increase taxes on the wealthy? Because he's saying one thing and telling them another thing. No,
Biden's not going to do that.
Is his natural, middle ground climate policy or whatever the hell he calls it these days include getting
asking Joe Biden a basic question of, well, wait a minute. When you were on the debate stage, you said you gave a tax cut, or that you increased taxes, but when really you capped and enshrined 80-something% of the Bush tax cuts. They let that slide. At the time of the debate, I'm sitting at home like, no way. Well, no way he said that.
The Intercept just came out with a good piece basically saying Harry Reid, of all people, wanted to go over the quote unquote fiscal cliff. He said, let the tax cuts expire. Meaning let's not extend the Bush tax cuts. Republican Joe Biden stepped in and he got those. He worked with Mitch McConnell and he got those done. But it's the same thing. Kamala Harris, for example, I would ask her people, hey, she says she's for the people. Who were the people at her fundraiser on Fifth Avenue in the penthouse suite of the managing director of Citigroup? This is so fundamental and rudimentary questioning based on publicly available information, and they don't want it done.
That they should know. That every reporter in there should know. Like I knew that. And I don't even know if I was like full on into news at the time, but I knew enough to know, like, well, wait a minute, you're allowing these grotesque tax cuts, these things that you said were horrible, and you're enshrining 83% of them. What?
Well, what was amazing to me during the debate, I talked about this on my live stream today. So, first question out of the gate: Bernie Sanders, why are you going to raise taxes on the middle?
Yeah, I saw that. Right. How are you going to raise taxes?
And Bernie gives an answer, and then she says, 10 seconds, follow up. Can you actually answer the question? And actually, honestly, I don't really think he did that great of a job answering it. But putting that aside,
You
so
don't think
they followed up on him. Then they say to Joe Biden, I was actually surprised they brought it up. Hey, you told Wall Street this. What did you mean? Joe Biden completely ignores the question. He just says we need to bring the dignity back to work in America. And I don't even, it made no sense.
Yeah.
And then they say, thank you, Vice President Biden. I mean, Bernie, they follow up, and Biden, like, we want to fluff your pillow. No, I think Bernie, listen, maybe it's because the New York in me, but I think Bernie continues to go to a knife fight holding a spoon.
Yes.
It took him an hour and 45 minutes to say a word about Joe Biden's record, Iraq. Yes. He brought up. He should have brought up. When Joe didn't answer, he should have said, excuse me, what did you mean to Wall Street?
Yes. I did a video say, Bernie, throw a punch. Like, Sanders has to throw a punch. Like, you're screaming about a revolution and you think it's going to be bloodless. It doesn't work that way. When Kamala Harris went after Joe Biden, she went after him for blood. Like, whatever you want to say about Kamala Harris, man, that knife was sharp. That was her in her debate prep where she was like, he's fallen into a trap. And Joe Biden is out there arguing states' rights. Oh. Did you hear that? I'm telling my girlfriend, my wife, I was like, he's arguing states' rights. I can't believe he's arguing states' rights. Like, that's that old white Southern Confederate argument when they were trying to get these guys to do civil rights. And I'm like, oh, that looks bad. That looks bad. Kamala Harris had one job. Joe Biden has the black vote, and God damn it, I got to get it.
Yeah.
And she went after his ass.
That's it. And it was effective. I think she's up like 10 points in some of the polls. And the thing is, Bernie has to be delicate because if he went after Kamala Harris on her record, they're going to paint him as a misogynist, racist, all this. But the bottom line is he could have had a double combo. Joe Biden did not answer on what he meant. Bernie should have said, well, I'm sure the, millions and millions of people who are still kind of digging out of what Wall Street did to them 10 years ago would like to know what you meant. Oh, by the way, Kamala, what did you're for the people. You're about to do a fundraiser with a Wells Fargo executive, former Wells Fargo executive, who defended the bank during its fake account scandal. You're literally taking paw prints. I'm not making this up, Jamarl. She's taking paw prints with the managing director of Citigroup's dog on Fifth Avenue in the penthouse suite.
Oh, that's so great.
I asked one of Kamala Harris's supporters, nice woman, African-American woman, you don't mind that she's hoarding money from Wall Street after the last 40 years? No. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And this is why they wouldn't let me in the building, because they know I'm the only one that will bring it up. And it's a shame. And honestly, it worked out. We got to interview people outside. We covered a great Green New Deal rally. We covered Tulsi's debate watch party, got her voters a voice. You're never going to see them on CNN. No. We got Bernie Sanders supporters a voice at a debate watch party. Of course, fun with Trump supporters, which I'm still popping. I'm popping Excedrins like candy.
I have two of those videos. One, Blacks for Trump, which you don't believe may be real, and I agree with you on this. Look, you have to weaponize certain things in politics. It's not always nice. But the goal is to win. Everything else is secondary to the goal of the winning, providing you don't get caught with whatever you're trying to do. If you get caught, you go backwards. I want to show this video of the Blacks for Trump. I want to show the first part of this, but I also want to show the other guy who looked like he was about to flip out and hit you. Mm-hmm. I was astounded by both of these. So let's go to the first one. This is Blacks for Trump. And it'll be quick, I promise. I'm not going to keep it long. Let's see. All right.
Well, see, like Malcolm X said that any black man that votes for a Democrat is a traitor to his race. Y'all always said the same thing. So did Elijah Muhammad. Martin Luther King was a Republican. The Black Lives Matter even said the same thing. So any black man that's out here supporting the Democrats is an absolute distraction.
I don't like the establishment.
That's amazing. Like, that's amazing. Let's go to the other one while this is up like this. And this is the second guy.
Oh boy.
What is the tyranny that's going to come with
healthcare for all, education for all, and better climate change policies.
All right. The way you want to package socialism, you could say it's democratic socialism, but you know what? Socialism at the end of the day is still communism's kissing cousin. So what you have in there is the Democratic Nazi convention.
Wow. He doesn't know. Like, I watched that video, I was like, he doesn't know. Like, Hitler was trying to destroy Bolshevism when he doesn't know. At one point, Hitler was like, now that the West, I can deal with, like now that what's taking place, we've taken France, we've taken Europe, now we can deal with this kind of Bolshevik thing once and for all. Hitler was not on board with the communism stuff. Those are different things he doesn't know. And the black guy who's screaming like that for Trump. So here's the thing. I don't know if that guy's real or not. I will say this.
I think from the research I've done, I think he's a paid plant.
You think he's a paid plant? All right.
He's at just about every Trump rally, like the one black guy right behind Trump. I don't know what he does for a living, but I understand he sells merchandise. So I don't know for sure, but from what I've read and heard, I think he's not on the level.
Mel, see, it's an effective thing though, because what he's arguing, I've argued once before that putting Joe Biden as your nominee has the weakness of that crime bill, and that Donald Trump is going to walk out and he says, "Look, I've let so many darkies out into prison, from prison, and that guy has been putting dark bodies in prison."
Yep.
And that's going to be you think hypocrisy is going to stop Donald Trump from making that argument? Not at all, not one iota. He is going to hit him on that relentlessly, which is why that guy's argument was that framed that way. You know what I mean?
And by the way, he only let black people out of prison because Kim Kardashian asked him nicely.
Right. It had nothing else to do. He was arguing like Trump loves black people or something. And it's like, oh, dude, come on, dog. Come on.
Well, what I thought was amazing was, he made a valid point. The First Step Back, I think, is good. I mean, give Trump credit, even though I think it's not because he loves, is so great on whatever. It's good. I don't think he was like he kept talking about how Trump is responsible for some of his friends getting out of prison in Florida. Like
he's in a halfway house or something.
Yeah, but like the First Step Act hasn't been fully executed yet, so I don't even think it hasn't even been implemented yet. So I don't even know what he's talking about. But putting that aside, so when I asked him, okay, but what about the Central Park Five? Like, yeah, I don't want to speak for black people. I'm obviously not black, but like. Most black people I know, like that's a visceral, like they know it.
Yes.
It's not, even if you're not in New York, you know about the Central Park Five. And especially if you're in New York, Donald Trump was like the leading jingoistic, basically put him in the chair already with no evidence.
They were innocent.
Right.
And he keeps doing that, even though they're innocent. Like that's an aggravating thing.
And he pretended he didn't know about it, which I find very hard to believe.
Yeah, I think that's nonsense.
So, you can't have these mental gymnastics where like, all right, Trump loves black people and he's letting my friends out. But like for these black people, like put them in the chair and throw away the key.
I could even take the argument of saying, look, Kim Kardashian asked him, so he let him out. I don't have this belief that Trump loves black people, but I think this First Step Act is a good thing. Yeah. I can accept that argument. That argument makes sense to me. It's not so like because the thing is, the moment that you say I'm supporting Trump and I'm black, the first question is Trump's racist. So what the hell are you doing supporting Trump who's racist? Like is that's usually the first thing that comes up. And so you have to kind of defend that position.
He literally at a rally said, "Look at my black over there."
Right. I mean, like that. I could see if you make the argument of just saying, look, I think the First Step Act is a great thing. And I hate the fact that the Democratic Party was working with these policies to put people in prison. And so my support of Trump, it comes from that. But it's like, don't tell people, don't go there. Like, don't do this.
But also, like, I didn't have a ton of time and he kept on just like pivot, moving the goalposts. But like the Republican Party is just like the Democratic Party is behind all these private prisons. Especially the Republican Party, and who are private prisons putting in jail? Mostly black men. So, and yes, the crime bill was 100% Bill Clinton, but the Republicans were
right there with him.
Right?
Yeah, they were right there with him.
But the point is, like, he kept on pivoting to Bill and Hillary, and that's like, all right, what's that worth the price of tea in China? You're right. but you have the Blacks for Trump shirt on. So we're talking about Trump.
And mind you, and the Republican Party, by the way. Like, this is not just Trump, you know, in the abstract. This is Trump with a Republican Party that has been horrendous, like his move so far to the right on these issues.
Yep.
That was an awesome. I'm putting these videos at the bottom so people can find them on your channel. You have a lot of them where you've been going out this epistemological research, just talking to random people as you go walk by. I found that to be utterly amazing. I was sitting there laughing my ass off these videos, man.
And just to answer, I get a lot of comments. Jordan, what's your secret? How do you do it? I do some deep breathing exercises and occasionally whiskey. I got to tell you, no joke, like I don't really get headaches that much, thankfully. After an hour and a half of that, I did like 5 or 6 of these, folks. I had a splitting headache. I don't know if it was the humidity or speaking with these people, because I think it's actually valuable to get the idiocy and bigotry on camera. I think that's valuable so people see, no, this is the Trump base. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And by the way, I interviewed somebody, a nice older man, who hates socialism but loves Social Security for himself. And that's not just a Republican thing. There's a lot of corporate Democrats who are like, oh, socialism is bad, but they like Social Security. They like Medicare for themselves. They like the VA. So it's not just the bigotry. It's the ignorance and idiocy that's just as dangerous, because the ignorance and idiocy is what helps people keep voting for people that are passing policies against their own interest.
Yeah. And that's the part that's always the hardest for me to that part. It's like voting for somebody who's going to screw you over, you know. But sometimes people have other ideological reasons where they're okay with themselves being screwed over, providing something else is allowed. Like someone could say, I love God and I don't want women to be able to have abortions, in which case that's going to be my single issue to which I'm going to vote for. I don't care about the other stuff. And you're like, what? You don't care? What do you mean you don't care about the other stuff? That matters that much to you? Yes. I don't care if I'm poor. I don't care if I'm broke. I don't care if I'm starving. But God damn it, I don't want those women to be able to have an abortion. And you're like, there's no daylight with that. Like, there's no daylight with that argument. There's nothing you're going to say that's going to move that guy.